Hey, Bourbon Bay, this is Steven. Good afternoon, guys, and I'm here at Dark Door Distillery, or actually Cerberus Distillery.
Cerberus Distillery,
Cerberus, yeah. And I'm here with Shane, and he's going to give us a little background on himself and then also the distillery.
Yeah.
And we're going to go do a tour, and I really appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so we're going to get this started, and I hope you guys enjoy. So here's Shane with all the backstory and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you good to go, Shane?
Cool. So we're Dark Door Spirits, technically, but we started as Cerberus Craft Distilling. Started about 6 years ago for passion for spirits, passion for hospitality. They wanted to do something a little different, a little experimental, something beyond just kind of what the normal spirits, not just in our area, but nationwide were. They got started doing some experimenting with what it was like to maybe distill craft beer, you know, paying homage to German beer schnapps, things like that. So our first product, if we don't mind, we'll take a look at it, was our Spirit of IPA. So the Spirit of IPA, we teamed up with a local craft brewery called Crooked Thumb, and we distilled their Shade Tree IPA. And this has led to a ton of really fun collaborations that we've done, and also a passion for changing whiskey up, making it a little more modern, having a good time with it, and kind of pushing the envelope of what is considered whiskey versus what is just your normal spirits. You know, obviously we've grown from that into some different gens, tons of fun barrel releases that we've done. Local artists that have done labels for us, as well as some vodkas, and our newest release was our rum. You know, we love whiskey, but we also love spirits, and we love having a great time with them. You know, we started off in a very small warehouse, and we've actually been able to grow into something really spectacular here in Tampa, and be kind of on the forefront of pushing the envelope of creating Florida-based spirits. So we have just recently teamed up with University of Florida to work on a program that is dedicated to bringing in Florida-grown barley and trying to make as much Florida-based spirits as we can, keeping it within the community, keeping it within Florida, and keeping it, you know, within Tampa Bay. So.
Yeah, I mean, so like that was going to be one of my questions. Is like you guys source a lot of your stuff here in the state of Florida?
We try and source as much as we possibly can. Obviously, there's a ton of stuff that isn't going to be grown in Florida, can't be found in Florida. Certain corns, as we said before, corn is a little harder here because all the corn grown here is for feed. That's something University of Florida is working with farmers to change, though. And we're really pushing with the other distilleries in this program to make it all about Florida. You know, keeping that circle going and making sure the farmers understand that they can start growing barley in November when they're not growing anything else, and being able to sell that barley afterwards. You know, when we started, we were I think we were 35 distilleries in Florida, and now we're up in the 80s. So it's a lot of growth, and it's a lot of potential for maybe other industries didn't realize what they could accomplish with just what was going on in the distilling community as well as the beer community. We obviously have an amazing beer community in Florida. I'll put them up against some of the nation's best. You know, we do some amazing stuff down here. So that's been a big selling point for us in really pushing, and you know, amazing things come from Florida. We've got great citrus. You know, our gin is our Demeter gin. It's a ton of citrus gin. It's very Florida based. It's right here. This guy. You know, we consider it a very Florida-esque gin. It's tons of citrus, pink peppercorns, and then after, you know, that was our base gin. The Spirit of Prohibition that was kind of our second product, and it was finding a way to kind of modernize the gin category. We thank a lot to Hendrick's for being able to showcase that not every gin had to be a London Dry gin. You know, people love London Dries or hate London Dries. I am in the camp of loving London Dry. I'm perfectly fine with the super juniper, but I understand that it's not always the best, for other people's palates. And we wanted something to kind of showcase a spirit in a different way. And when we first started, everyone made rum. We didn't really want to join into that, not too quickly, but gin it's an up and coming spirit, and nobody's doing a gin like we are.
Definitely not your father's gin anymore.
Yeah, so what we did was we take our base gin, which is very citrus forward, and we actually add the lavender and rose hips to the maceration. After we've macerated it for 2 weeks, we pull the botanicals out and leaves behind all that amazing botanical oil. So that's all real oil in there that gives it that honey color. It gives it this viscosity that's almost kin to a rum. I use it in a lot of tiki cocktails. I'm big on fun tropical cocktails. I think they're perfect for Florida drinking as well. That lends itself well, mouthfeel wise and everything else, to something like that. So it's been a very integral part of putting our name out there, because we do things that are just so outside the box. So.
And then you guys were talking about with your owners, your distillers, how they kind of came to Florida, chose.
Yeah, so they've been in Florida for a while, much longer than the 6 years. But Brandon came down here from Massachusetts. Matt has been kind of all over the place, and then one of the original founders, Steve, as well. The three of them kind of came up with Cerberus by kind of working towards the history, and not just in spirits and paying homage to that history, but in their own family. Our Spirit of the Harvest is our rye whiskey. It's a Pennsylvania rye, and it's a recipe that Brandon Marshall found in his great-grandfather's estate after he had passed, and he really wanted to showcase that style of gin, because it's a style of whiskey, rye whiskey, that had kind of fallen away. Rye whiskeys were prevalent pre-prohibition. There was nobody drank bourbon, and then rye whiskey just fell off the map in Pennsylvania style, exceedingly so. So we really wanted to bring that back, modernize it a little bit. It's a great mash bill. It's 85% rye, so it's got a really nice high spiced rye content, and that's what we kind of look for when we're producing a rye. Now this is our typical rye. We're also working on a George Washington rye that's going to be derived from a single rye strain. We're doing some different rye blends that we're playing around with, and then we're big on our bourbon as well, which our bourbon, 74% corn, really nice high corn content. We wanted something nice and sweet. That's our Spirit of the Oak. What makes that unique, though, is that it's actually going to be using 4 different styles of oak in the aging process, and those 4 styles of oak are going to give you flavors of caramel, mocha, toffee, vanilla, all those really nice creamy flavors. And then that Spirit of the Oak is actually what we've used in a ton of our barrel program here. Like our friends over Whiskey Culture have done a barrel select with us, and this one was aged in a Calusa brown ale barrel, and unfiltered. You get in there good, you can see the brown ale still in there. And I mean, it is
filtered, not chill filtered at all.
No chill filtering for us. We like everything nice. We want everything to maintain those oils. We think that oil viscosity is very important, especially to maintaining the flavor over time. You really start, as you keep getting into the bottle, it kind of almost mutates as you go, because you use different oils, placements and stuff, and that was fun for us. So I love stuff like that, especially for beer geeks like we are, that are also spirit geeks. Being able to play around with, and it's also a sense of community. You reach out to a brewery and you say, hey, we'll trade you some barrels. Then you get to create something completely unique and something so different, and that's so big on community for us. And that was something that was important when they were founding, the distillery. It was very important because they wanted to be able to tell a story through their spirits that wasn't just, hey, here's some good liquor. They wanted something that was very, hey, this is kind of a little piece of our history, and our history is in the spirit, but also we want to maintain that this community is important to us and being able to build on that. You know, and then that was one of the big reasons I even came on board. You know, I left being just a guy that worked behind bars, you know, doing management, things like that, bartending, beverage directing, to come on with these guys as brand director, and you know, I haven't looked back since. You know, I've been able to really fall in love with this industry all over again, and it's part of the reason I stayed is because we do stuff like our Pandemic at the Disco, which is funny, it's goofy.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
But we were able to donate a lot of money to the USBG Tampa Bay to help bartenders and stuff that were affected poorly during the pandemic.
Oh, that's
Yeah, we made it funny. We made it comical. Try to have a little levity in it, but that was a selling point, and we wanted to sell it so we could donate. You know, it just goes right back along with giving back to our community in some way.
So, I mean, I know you were talking about using the 4 different oaks.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I know that the new oak is usually pretty big when it comes to bourbons.
Yep.
But like,
So it has to be a new oak.
Yeah,
so,
the white oak. Yeah.
But different oaks from different regions are all going to have a little different flavors. Each barrel is so unique. That's something you really learn very quickly. You know, your styles of oak are so important to kind of maintaining the different flavors, and that's something we really love about it. You know, and that's why when we do our Spirit of the Oak and our Spirit of the Harvest, we maintain those are blends instead of coming from single barrel. These are blends to flavor, so we can have some consistency. But each oak is, I mean, it's wild how different you can taste. We actually do a bourbon, we do a barrel bourbon class or barrel blending class here to